Okay, this is a new video for all my fellow air gunners and YouTubers and Airgun Nation brothers to show you guys my latest and I'm hoping my last iteration of my FX Dynamic 35 caliber. Got this about, I don't know, 6 or 8 months ago. And I've had it configured all different ways up till now. I started out with one of those MDT skeleton butt stocks, but then changed my mind and sold that. And anyway, so you can see what I got now. I got the 400cc metal bottle on the back. And just a real basic, like Air Force Condor butt pad thing. Go against my shoulder. And I've got my standard issue Athlon. This is a 4-20 by 50, which I've determined, it's a Helos, actually, Athlon Helos, 4-20 by 50, with a little cheap UTG 3-inch side wheel I made, or rather I adapted with a Dremel tool, you know, cutting down the rubber insert on the center of this thing until it fit on there, just good press fit. And let's see, on the scope, I can tell you the Helos 4-20 I think is absolutely perfect and ideal for air rifles out to at least, I'll say 150 yards. If you guys want to get longer distance than that, I can understand a 30 power scope, but out to 150 yards, I think this is perfect. And the difference with the Helos is the reticle's thick enough, if that's the right word, that you can really see it clearly even at low magnification. All right, and you can see I've got the Huma air sticker on there, which means I put a Huma regulator in here. And you can see I've got the bottles filled to 250, and I've got the regulator set at 175, which is just, to me, perfect. I watched a video from Up North Air Gunner with Chris Turek, the way he set up his Dynamic 35 with an 800 millimeter barrel. And I've had this up to 200 bar on the regulator. And up, you know, in the 215 foot-pounds energy area, but, you know, I'm not a hunter, I'm a target shooter. I just cranked it up that high to see, you know, where it would fail. And it didn't. It ran perfect with my reg set on 200 bar. But you don't get more than about 10 shots. And, you know, if you're hunting a specific thing like hogs or something, and you want all that energy, great. But I can tell you right now, 150 foot-pounds will kill any deer in North America if you take a headshot. And 200 foot-pounds on a body shot, heart-lung shot, shit. Whatever's walking ain't going to be walking much farther. So, all that hoof-for-all about all that power madness that, you know, I let myself get involved in, as well as many others, I'm back down to reality here. I'm getting 25 full power shots, and you know, I like the configuration. I've got a 580cc bottle I can put on here and a 700 I can put on here. The reason I've got the 300 is because I like to hold my rifles up and shoot them standing offhand. Okay, and in this configuration, makes it the lightest, just absolutely perfect rifle to hold up and shoot offhand. Okay? Of course, when I do that, I take this bipod off. Speaking of bipod, you can see once again, I took some epoxy and attached a Atlas 2-inch or whatever 3-inch little Picatinny rail to the bottom, and I put it as far out front as practicable, because when you want to shoot prone off a bipod for long distance, you want that bipod as far out in front of your rifle as you can get it. Okay? While I'm thinking of it, I'm going to tell you guys a tip that I've been meaning to share for a long time and keep forgetting. I just got set up here a few minutes ago before I started the video, and you can see on my power wheel it's on number 1. So I recommend, my tip is, I recommend that you set your power wheel on number 1 when you're storing the gun. Okay. And then when you want to shoot it, if you want to turn it up to number 23, or wherever in between, that's fine. But when your shooting session is finished and you're going to put the rifle away for any length of time, take it off, take and put it on number 1. That takes all that preload off your hammer spring. You know, by having it up on 23, you're partially compressing that hammer spring. And if you leave it like that over a long time, that spring will take a set. And instead of being 56 millimeters long, like it comes from the factory, it'll end up being 52 millimeters long, let's say. Well, and then you're not getting the power you once were, and you can't figure out why. Well, that would be your answer why. Of course, you can see I'm running my Super Fantastic Emperor by Donnie FL. And I'll show you something else I do. I hope you can see, I take a red marker. First of all, I sand the inside hole there slightly. Then I take a red marker and make it red. So at a glance, when I'm taking that suppressor on and off, I can just glance at that red and instantly tell if something's clipping or not. And so far not, praise God. This is the other side of her. I want to point out one other tech tip that I learned from Ernest Rowe on one of his videos. If you cock your rifle and put a piece of Kleenex over this hole right here and fire the rifle, dry fire it, and it blows that Kleenex off, that means the O-ring, the little tiny 3.5 by 1 millimeter O-ring on your valve seat, where the tip of your valve pin seats, is blown out. Okay? And let's see, you can see I've got this marked so it's a little more visible. I'm a red marker freak, I guess. And other than that, it's about it. Oh, this is my Draeger Super Fantastic air tank. As you can see, it appears as if it's almost brand new, but it's out of date. I got it for, I think, $65 off eBay, and I fill it with my own air compressor, which, by the way, I no longer own the Air Venturi Krypton. I had problems with mine, which I'm not going to go into at this point, other than to say I sent it back to Air Venturi, and Pyramid Air gave me 100% store credit. They couldn't give me a refund, but they gave me 100% store credit when I returned my Krypton air compressor. And instead of that, I bought a new air compressor from Amazon called the GX. And this is the big one that has 2 air cylinders. And you can actually fill your big tanks up to 5,800 PSI. But I don't do that. I fill mine to 4,500. I've got 3 big tanks and a small one, and I don't need to do that. And I don't want to be blowing out, what do you call them, pressure discs, whatever they're called, these little things here. I forget the name of them, but anyway, I'm cool at 4,500 PSI. And whenever this gets low enough, down to around 280 bar, reading on my gauge, I stop filling the rifle up and I just connect it and leave it connected to the rifle, which is called tethering. So I just leave it tethered with the valve on this thing wide open, and where I'm sitting there standing, this hose on here's I don't know, 3 or 4 feet long. You get them from Air Guns of Arizona, and they ain't expensive. So anyway, oh gee whiz, you can see sitting in the sun since we started talking. What's my reg up to? 177. Oh my God, it creeped up 2 bar. Well, I don't think that'll matter. All right. Oh, one thing I want to caution you guys against. When you're configuring and reconfiguring these dynamic rifles, if for any reason you remove this little piece that's got the nipple on it and then put it back on for some reason, on the rear or the front, make damn sure you put plenty of Loctite on it and let it sit overnight before you screw your air bottles on. If you don't Loctite these, when you start to unscrew your air bottles, instead of the bottle unscrewing from this adapter, the whole adapter unscrews from the rifle. And what happens is this shoots that way and this one shoots that way, and they're both rolling around on the floor, flying around like whirling dervishes, scaring the bejesus out of you. And yeah, it's exciting, but I don't recommend it. So make sure those adapters are thoroughly Loctited into the rifle. All right. Other than that, I'll leave you guys. I'm going to do some shooting here today afternoon. Let's see, this is October 14th. We just had a major, second major hurricane roll through Florida here. And as you can see, we came through pretty much unscathed. This is a lake where my gracious neighbor lady lets me come and shoot. This is well organized, as you can tell, and runs great. Okay. Here's my good old van. It's a 97, and I wouldn't trade her for the world. All right. I'll leave you one last view of that, and let me turn the camera around and I'll give you all a view of a good view of good old Chuckster later on.